Welcome to Poland Daily Culture.
I'm Paulina Otterstein.
And I'm John Carter.
And today we're in Opatów in a beautiful Gothic castle.
And in today's episode, Paula's going to be speaking to an expert in Opatów Castle. I'm going to be taking you around the museum to see the sights and around the garden and the surrounding area. So join us as we take you on a little adventure around this historic place. Ooh, beautiful day, eh?
Yeah, and the birds are singing.
Ooh, flying overhead as well.
Yeah.
So, lovely guest house over there.
Mm-hmm. One can actually rent out rooms there to sleep. So if you maybe have some free time to come here, you can sleep in them.
Wow, great idea. Yeah, so first impressions of the castle?
Well, the fact that it's actually almost kept as it was in the 15th century makes it really special, I think. And plus, it's a beautiful place.
Really is, very impressive. Yeah, I have to say, I like the way they've got the sort of the moat going round, because as I've heard before, that originally it was sort of set up before it was owned by the Opatowski family, and they built it. It was a sort of defensive kind of fort before, so you'd have this moat. I guess they built it afterwards for something, just for sort of for show. You can kind of see round the corner as well. They've got those the lions set up there.
Yeah, the park is really special as well.
Very kind of neo-Renaissance type set up with the sort of the animals, etc. And you kind of have the lines of trees going through the gardens as well. Yeah, I find it quite...
Have you been inside?
I have been inside, and yeah, it's quite impressive. Got the sort of of course now it's a sort of museum, so you have everything kind of set up in a way to show you the kind of old artifacts. And it's interesting for me what you've got several generations of families. So originally you had the Opatowskis.
Yeah, but then later other families lived there as well. And throughout all the 500 or 600 years, which is a long time, there were many owners. And I think they mentioned that after the Second World War, so around 1948, it became a museum, which it still is now.
And and you sort of have the different generations changing, the different families changing the castle to varying degrees, you know. So some had more of a kind, maybe more money or more of a vested interest in changing things. You know, I'm trying to think of the Sołachub family, that kind of Lithuanian treasurer, he seemed to be the sort of person who was really influencing a lot more. He was the one who expanded the park to a greater degree, and I think
But the Italian family, I think, who lived here, they took care of the garden.
I think they were the ones who actually did it in the way which, as it looks today. So it hasn't changed dramatically since their time. But yeah, each sort of generation sort of followed the different trends of the time.
And brought something with them.
And brought something different with them, yeah. So I think they were kind of maybe connected with like the nobility from around Europe, influenced by the different fashions, hearing about, you know, what might be going on in Germany, Austria, even Italy. Oh, they'd have quite common as well to this region, like central Poland, they'd have the English garden. You've heard of the English gardens? So this is this kind of a classical style. If you just down the road from here, you've got that Ogród Romantyczny Arcadia, which follows this theme as well. But around here, I was going to say, you've got it. It's very sort of peaceful, apart from all the intenseness of the birds.
But that's nature, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
But it's so lovely. I would love to come here one day to even sleep in the little house.
It is. Very reasonably priced, so I hear. So, yeah.
And we're lucky because this year they're celebrating 70 years of existence, the museum. So there's going to be a lot of events going on linked to that.
What type of events are happening then?
I think music concerts and dance performances. There will also be a new exhibition opening on May 26th or 7th, I think. That's what I've been told.
Great space for that type of thing with the gardens, and I think because it kind of creates a kind of special atmosphere with that. There's not so many places where they really preserve the gardens, and yet at the same time you're quite cut off.
But it's so nice and wild, the park here.
It is at the same time. It's not like this sort of pristine, sort of everything cut back. But at the same time, it's got a sort of element of forest.
Very lovely.
But sort of the human touch and nature is blended together to kind of form this.
I like it a lot. It's a good place, I think, to come for 1 or 2 days to really
appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's also interesting some of the things that they found there as well. You know, you kind of have like the artifacts with, like, they found all the weapons like 100 or so years ago, and you know how they were used, etc.
And so many art pieces and the furniture.
There is, and they all kind of represent those different eras, just as the park represents different eras. You got it as well with the furniture, you know. So you have one room which is, what was it called, like the
Biedermeier.
Biedermeier. Yes, you're a bit of an expert of this interior, Polish interior design.
I still have to study a bit, but actually Biedermeier is from Germany. It came from Germany.
Right.
In the 19th century.
But I mean, I think it's the same with many different European countries. They all took influences from their neighbours, and so you've got the Biedermeier living room in there, and then you've got other elements which are that kind of
which are a bit older as well, from the 16th and 17th century.
Yeah, and then a little bit older than that is the kind of the neo-Baroque element to it as well. So it kind of phased all these different things together in a way, and these different people represented over time. I think, in the very beginning, you know, the Oporowski family was, you know, one of the richest families in Poland.
They were.
But as generations passed, it wasn't always the kind of super rich that owned it. It's interesting today that it's, you know, it's out of kind of private hands. But I think, one of the problems maybe over years is that sometimes when you have that private ownership, that it kind of falls into disrepair and people don't take care of it. But even despite those many owners, fantastically preserved, and even up to this day.
It really looks great.
And it's miraculously survived the war as well, which is an achievement in itself. You know, it was confiscated by the Germans as well. So.
But I think also the new directors of the museum have done a lot of work to keep it like this. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, for sure.
Should we go on a walk?
Let's take a stroll around the garden.
The castle in Oporów was built in the first half of the 15th century and is one of the few castles in Poland preserved in such good condition. It features a medieval knight defensive residence. Through the ages, it was always inhabited, saved against damage and distorting reconstruction, becoming the center of Poland's secular medieval architecture. The castle is situated on an island surrounded by a moat, which originally ran under the drawbridge situated in front of the arched gateway. Its compact layout is concentrated around a quadrangular courtyard, a residential house, two-story tower, and a flanking tower, with a chapel and defensive walls closing the courtyard to the north and east. The layout of the castle interior still remains almost unchanged. The first historical mention of Oporów comes from the second half of the 14th century. Then it was the seat of the Oporowski family, of the Sulima coat of arms, the most prestigious in the Łęczyca lands.
Thank you very much for joining us here at Poland Daily Culture from Oporów Castle. I'm John Carter.
I'm Paulina Otterstein, and don't forget to watch us again and subscribe to our new YouTube channel, Poland Daily Live. See you soon.